will get all the details unless Close and Excel goes after the reporter. That will bring more of it into the fore. But it just seems like a very, very unnecessary distraction for the Los Angeles Dodgers to have to deal with. They made a commitment to Freddie Freeman of X number of dollars, X number of years, and do they need this current distraction? I would say probably not.
And look, everybody's disappointed, myself included, that Freddie Freeman only has 9 home runs. But his slash line is 304, 386, 490. His slash line last year was 300, 393, 503. You're talking almost, it's a very, very close. He's playing almost as well as he always has been. It's just some of his balls aren't clearing the fence.
Right, and such is life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they need Freddie Freeman focused for the next 2 months so they can get into the playoffs and advance towards a World Series. And what happens if the Dodgers, per se, win a World Series? Okay,
change everything.
Well, yeah, and Freddie Freeman hits the series-winning home run in Game 6. Well, yeah, this all goes away pretty quick, doesn't it?
Now, the other scuttlebutt that's going off, and what Ken Rosenthal wrote about, is he believes there's blame all the way around. That Close was at blame here, Freeman was at blame, and the Atlanta Braves are at fault because they have plenty of money. Why not just offer the guy the money to bring him in? And it's everybody's prerogative to do what they want to do, and sometimes it ends up with the guy going with his second choice. That's his decision. And the same thing with the Braves. They went with their second choice, which was Olsen.
Well, yeah, and again, everybody likes to bargain a little bit differently. Even us as consumers, okay? Right. A lot of people on the purchase of a car, a lot of people love going into a car lot and haggling. Okay, and nickel and diming, you'll throw in the floor mats, you'll do, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Okay, when I'm buying a car, I walk in and I say, give me your best offer. I'm going to 3 other places. I don't want you coming back saying you could have after the fact. I want your bottom line right now. Give it to me. And then I make a decision. And I actually had a number of years ago, somebody come back, well, why didn't you give me another opportunity? Well, I didn't give you another opportunity because I told you this is how I was going to negotiate this deal. It's, if you don't want to play by my rules, well, you don't get the sale. It's simple as that. And when it comes to player contracts, again, who knows how the actual negotiations transpired? But maybe the fact that the Braves started at X minus 10 to work towards X, maybe that had a bearing on the ultimate end decision.
Yeah,
and the negotiation process just didn't flow smoothly as a result of something either party did, right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes 2 to tango, Timmy, and clearly,
sure.
Neither side in this case were on the same page. And it sounds like that Freeman really wanted to stay with the Braves, and it didn't happen. And unfortunately, he's got a long contract in Los Angeles. I think he probably gets somewhat happy there. I mean, people are adaptable.
Well,
but,
sure.
I think if you're completely blaming the Braves, you're wrong. If you're completely blaming Freddie Freeman, you're wrong. I mean, it's a combination of all that.
It takes more than one to tangle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Timmy, I hate haggling over cars. I just despise it.
I'm the same way.
Some people I know, as you were saying, love it, and they just can't wait. I mean, I'm like, just how much does it cost? Okay, I'll pay it. Just like, tell me what it is. Here's what the website says. Everybody else is paying. I want that deal.
Yeah. Yeah, treat me right, treat me fair. Give me your best situation. I'm not going to waste the next 3 weeks of my life to save $18.72. Okay, that just ain't happening. I don't have the time and or patience to be dealing with the nickel and dime stuff.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Timmy, second question is just Justin Verlander just continues to perform very well. And I just kind of know, where do you take him next season? He's going to be 40 years old.
Yes.
He's pitching well. He's winning games, and I would assume he would stay in Houston, but who knows? The only thing that's down a little bit is the strikeouts. Everything else is vintage Justin Verlander, but he is 40. What do you do?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. It really is, because right now he's sitting, third in ERA with a 2.03 ERA. And this is coming back at,
after Tommy John.
After Tommy John, he's leading the league in wins with 10. Even his strikeout rate, which is down a bit, okay, is still good for 24th overall.
Mm-hmm.
He's only allowed 17 walks in 97 and a third innings.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking, arguably, this could be his finest season.
Yeah. And he's 40. He'll be 40 in February.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a top 5 pitcher, but there is risk. At some point in time, it's going to fall off, whether it be next year or the year after or the year after. When I look at my current top 5, okay, I would probably take him outside of my top 5. I would take Shane McClanahan before him,
mm-hmm.
Alcantara, Manoah, Julio Urias probably,
mm-hmm.
But he's going to be top. He's going to be a top 10 starter, probably somewhere between 3 and 7. He's going to go off the board. And you know what? I as much as the age factor is going to be in the back of your mind until you get to probably sometime in June. I think with Justin Verlander, he's just a different breed.
It feels like Nelson Cruz.
Yeah,
as a
it
pitcher.
does. Yeah. Yep.
And Nelson Cruz has had a fine season. It's not been great. I think that's probably how we see Justin Verlander. Just kind of the Greg Maddux thing, where he just kind of slows down year over year, and then eventually just retires.
Yeah, but it'll be very interesting to see where he goes. But I think it'll be somewhere between 3, 4, and 8, somewhere in that
mm-hmm.
range. And I won't fault anybody for looking at Justin Verlander as an early pick next year. I don't think you can. He's proven this year that he is still an elite level starting pitcher.
And don't discount, I know Jacob deGrom hasn't pitched yet, but he should be, I think he's about ready to start his rehab. If he has a really strong second half, Timmy, he could fly right back up into the top 5.
Yeah, Max Scherzer falls into that same category, doesn't
Yep.
he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So, again, what happens if Chris Sale comes back when he doesn't shoves it? What does that do? What does that do to his value next year? So, there's a lot of season to be played yet. The only thing I feel very comfortable with is right now Shane McClanahan and Sandy Alcantara and Alex Manoah. They are very, very good starting pitchers, and barring complete failure or injury, they're all going to be in my top 10. A couple are going to be in my top 5 next year.
It's unfortunate because it looks like Tarek Skubal has slowed down a bit. The last few outings have not been great.
Yeah, well, again, I looked at some of the results from Skubal, and I'm not going to downshift right now in a big way. The one game there was a couple bloop hits. He's not getting any support whatsoever from the core of relievers pitching after him. Okay, I think in his last start, two or three of the runs that eventually scored were allowed. They show up under his ERA, but the reliever basically contributed to it in a big way. So I'm not going to really downshift all that much based on what we've seen over the past 3-4 starts. Now, if this continues indefinitely for another 6 to 8 weeks, well, yeah, I think you have to look at it. But what do you do with a pitcher like Dylan Cease? Okay, who currently I believe is, second in strikeouts to only Shane McClanahan.
Mm-hmm.
I
think he goes high.
His ERA is 2.56. I think Dylan Cease, if he pitches strong throughout the balance of the year, I think he's got the potential to be a top 10 starter.
I agree.
Yeah, so it's we're sort of seeing a changing of the guard, aren't we, in pitching?
Yeah, we're seeing some of the older pitchers, except for Justin Verlander, just hurt, and that's letting some of these younger guys come up. But again, Sale, DeGrom, Scherzer, all on the IL at the moment. If they come back and have strong second halves,
Yeah.
I mean, it puts them into the mix as well.
Well, yeah, and pitchers like Aaron Nola with a 3.13 ERA and 117 strikeouts, and Garrett Cole.
Been very good. Yep, been very good.
Yeah, it's going to be Shohei Ohtani with a 2.68 ERA and 101 strikeouts and 74 innings pitched. There's some really good young pitching.
Yep. Timmy, let's move on. I got to tell you, if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm not happy with how Manny Machado's injury was handled. Do you know that he hurt himself on Sunday? 10 days would have been yesterday if he would have gone on the IL. So his first game back would have been today. He played one game, and the Padres had an opportunity to put him on the IL. They didn't. And therefore, they played shorthanded for a week and a half. I think that is awful GMing.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Obviously, they hate us fantasy folks because we've been running day to day to day to day for basically 10 days. Now, I know the smart play is obviously to put them on, put them on your bench and bring somebody in, but we can't IL them. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I can see 4 or 5 days. But at some point in time, you got to make a decision because you can backdate these things, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
At the end of 3-4 days, if things are not looking good, well, throw them on the IL, backdate it, and what potentially are you going to lose? You're going to lose a player if he would be ready within 2-3 days, okay? Which obviously, if he was, and you felt comfortable with that, you wouldn't put him in the IL or consider it in the first place, right? But on the other hand, you're right. They played short for a week and a half.
Yeah, they got one hit with a guy who played DH. It's just ridiculous. So I mean, that's bad. You can't convince me that that was a good move. I think they probably kowtowed to the player who didn't want to go on the IL, and they should have just said, "Look, we're going to put you on the IL. Go get healthy."
We're gonna pick up the kid. We're gonna bring the kid up. Even if he pinch runs, we're going to bring the kid up.
What, Ruiz?
He'll contribut something to our team for a week.
Yeah.
And we know he will.
Yeah.
Or feel comfortable.
They would have probably brought up Robinson Cano, but I get your point.
Yeah, and you're probably right, yes.
Well, maybe that's what they were thinking. Look, our alternative is Robinson Cano. Timmy, let's take a break, get back, and I think you've got the hard questions coming up, right?
I got the point up. I'm ready to make the toss.
My top 100 is done, Tim. It's sitting in the queue on WordPress, just with a release date ready to go out. I'm so excited.
And yes, and that's another reason why you don't allow me access to WordPress, right?
Yeah, right. So
one of many. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to talk about that next week, aren't we?
We are, and I'm going to come out with a teaser podcast tomorrow. Just talk about some guys that, the guys that I kind of wanted to put in there just because I thought they would be fun to put in there. But I'm not going to release who the number one guy is, though it should be pretty obvious who the number one guy is.
Yes.
But just talk about some of the deeper guys that we probably won't get to. So.
Well, and some of those deeper guys, when we're talking next week, are probably going to be my focus because I'd like to understand the rationale behind moving player A into the 85th slot as compared to player B, that sort of situation. It always fascinates me that the process that you go through, okay, as you determine which one of these younger players that's broken out or has a potential to break out moves into your top 100. And I think our listeners appreciate that as well, getting that information.
Yeah, sometimes there's a process, Timmy, and sometimes when I do it, I look at it and go, it's just boring. It just there's nothing there to get excited about. Yeah, everybody knows this pitcher is going to be a number 3 starter. So what? Like,
Yeah.
like give
There's
me
a
a guy
lot
that.
of there's a lot of number 3 starters out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a lot of guys that have a chance to not even be number 3 starters that wind up on the list and become relievers. I will tell you, this